Radio Raheem here with Paulie Malignaggi. You were ringside for yet another war, man. We saw John Molina. We saw him face Ruslan Provodnikov and come out victorious. Was there anything about the fight that surprised you?
Yeah, John had a great game plan. He used his jab, and I think even Ruslan was a little bit surprised by it. But credit to John for not only understanding that game plan, but then being able to execute it correctly. I thought it was still a good fight. There was still plenty of exchanges in it, and it was a fun fight to watch. But a good performance.
It looked like Molina was able to land that jab at will, but he did get hit with some hellacious shots from Provodnikov. Did it surprise you that he was able to stand up underneath those kind of power shots?
No, I mean, John is a tough, sturdy guy, as both guys are, so I expected them to both land their fair share of hard shots and be able to remain sturdy. It's why they're known as exciting fighters, because they don't just go down when they take those kind of shots. They're kind of give and take kind of fighters with a lot of power. So it didn't surprise me that John was able to take some of the big shots from Ruslan, as I wasn't surprised from Ruslan taking some of the big shots from John. But overall the fight evolved a certain way, and the biggest surprise was probably the output was more in favor of John, and that was probably because he was able to control Ruslan's output with his jab.
Ruslan's one of these fighters that is always exciting. The fans love to watch him, but we heard him after the fight say that maybe his heart wasn't in it. Maybe this isn't, the fire that he used to have. When a fighter starts to talk like that and you see a performance like this, is that the good time to really reflect on your career, or is it something you just get past?
No, I mean, it's a time to start reflecting on your career, but you got to give yourself a few weeks. Sometimes you really do think like that. I've thought like that, of late recently too. And, some people might think, okay, you should retire. But I think you're really more cognizant and more aware of what you're really thinking as the weeks pass, and you don't have everybody's word in your ear anymore. Right after a fight, everybody's talking, everybody's giving you ideas, everybody's throwing you, throwing something in your head as far as what might have been the problem or what it might be, or maybe you're just not hungry or whatnot. So you need to take a few weeks to just reflect, and it takes you a few weeks because everybody kind of starts to leave you alone after a few weeks, and you're able to really give it some thought on your own instead of taking everybody else's opinion and trying to process it.
I'm on my way to London here in just about a week, and we're going to see the first IBF defense for Anthony Joshua against Dominic Breazeale. What are your thoughts on that fight and that matchup?
I like the matchup. Two 2012 Olympians, so they're both hungry, both undefeated, and both still on the rise. And so it's a good little matchup of guys that are still on the rise. I think one thing about when guys are still on the rise, they're more willing to take more punishment before kind of giving in or surrendering. And I think you'll see that from both guys. Although sometimes when Joshua hits you, you don't have a lot of. If you're not cognizant, it doesn't matter how much you want to fight. You're not able to fight. But I hope it turns out to be a good fight. It's always a big event when Joshua fights in England. And I expect nothing less from the Brits next week.
We saw Joshua drop Martin. We've seen Breazeale go down and get back up. Who do you think wins that fight? And if Joshua were to drop Breazeale, you think he could get back up?
I don't know. Every knockdown is different, I guess. You certainly favor Joshua. He's also the home fighter, and he's the guy who's been looking better and better. But, Breazeale's coming with I'm sure, a very good game plan, and I'm sure he's also determined. You're fighting for your first world championship. There's a lot on the line on that night, and you're more willing to go through hellfire to try to achieve that goal.
And just a couple weeks after that, I'm going to be there again for Tyson Fury and the rematch with Vladimir Klitschko.
You got honorary citizenship over there, man?
Yeah, I might have to stay, But they're doing big fights over there. Those are two big ones coming up back to back. What do you think about this rematch? I mean, Fury's already taunting Klitschko, and Klitschko looks like he's a little bit more focused this time. How do you see it?
I'm going to go on a limb. I think Fury wins again. I think he's got the anecdote to kind of disrupt Klitschko's rhythm. Klitschko's fundamental style that he has. He's a little bit unorthodox, and he kind of throws that off a little bit. Plus, added to the factor of the age and whatnot. Klitschko's had a great career. He's been a terrific champion. He'd match up well with any of the old champions, but I think his time may have passed. We'll see.
We saw 154 in the ring tonight. We know that Canelo's next opponent is everyone's trying to figure out who that might be or who that should be. Where do you think Canelo goes from here, and what are your thoughts on vacating that title as opposed to defending that middleweight championship?
I don't know. You know, it's interesting. We'll find out if he has any plans to really fight Golovkin by the way he starts to pick his opponents from now on. If he's fighting middleweights, then maybe he has an eye on eventually fighting Golovkin. But if he goes back to the junior middleweight division, which is probably where he belongs anyway, then I don't know that we'll see the Golovkin fighter, at least not right away. So we'll see.
Is there a challenge for him at that weight? I guess the Canelo weight, as they call it.
At 154 at junior middleweight, yeah, for me the junior middleweight division is probably the best in boxing right now. I mean, you got a solid top 8 there that could be number 1 in a lot of weight classes. It's crazy.
Who gives him the best fight at 54 or 55?
Honestly, man, you got Jamal Charlo looked great last fight. I think he really got a lot of problems for Canelo. I think Demetrius Andrade has a lot of issues for Canelo. Julian Williams is not a champion. I think he's got issues for everybody at 154, including Canelo. There's probably guys I'm not even remembering. Vanis is still solid. He's a durable guy who can punch. And obviously Arislan De Lara already fought Canelo. That was a good fight, dude. That weight's stacked. I don't know.
And not too long after I get back, because I am coming back, we're going to see Terrence Crawford in the ring against Victor Postol. One of these kind of fights that really fight fans love. It could be fireworks. Do you got a prediction on that fight? How do you see it going?
Both are really good fighters. People don't know enough about Postol yet, but he's a good, solid fighter, and he's also mentally really strong. I think Crawford is a little bit more variation to his style, and I think that might be the fundamental difference to get him through. But it's not going to be easy. Postol is going to make him work for it.
You're certainly a fight fan. You're a connoisseur, not just in the ring, but next to the ring at the microphone. Is there one fight left this year in 16 that Paulie Malignaggi is particularly looking forward to? What matchup gets you excited?
I'm a purist, man. I'm one of these guys that likes boxers. I like my punchers, but I like punchers who know how to set the power up and not just brawlers. Obviously anybody likes a good brawl, kind of bang out kind of fight, like last week's Salido Vargas fight. But I also like boxers as well as punchers that can set up that power. So there's a couple of fights that really stick out in my mind. I think I'd be really excited to see Jamal Charlo and Julian Williams fight. Two really, really good fighters, and who can fight and can punch a little bit as well. But they're really, really solid boxers. They know how to set traps. They know how to set you up. It's a real high IQ type of fight with a lot of intensity and also a high level fight as far as high skill. And then another fight, if Kell Brook it's not obviously a guarantee that he gets by Jesse Vargas, because Jesse is a good fighter in his own right. But if Kell Brook can get by Jesse Vargas, and if Errol Spence gets by Leonard Bundu, who is also not exactly a gimme, I get excited about Kell Brook and Errol Spence as well.
Is there one fighter out there that you think can lay claim to pound for pound best right now? Is there a fighter out there that really can say that right now?
For me, it's Andre Ward, but we'll see what everybody else thinks. I like Andre Ward.
Radio Raheem with Paulie Malignaggi, man. Thanks for your thoughts. Always love your commentary. We'll see you again ringside.
Thanks, man.